We'll start here. We got Brendan Murphy or All That Murph from the New England Chowderheads just making the 25-man roster. Uh, how was that whole experience? That must have been awesome.
It was, and it was helpful going into it. I drive around a lot, whether it's short distance or long distance, so I kind of end to listen to podcasts, and it's kind of hard for me to get out of lacrosse. So I did a lot of lacrosse podcasts, and I learned and I heard a lot about what the experience of these pro guys have in like the NLL and Senior A and Senior B with the free agency and going to camps, and there's only so many jobs. So a lot of guys I was talking to during this PBLA experience, it was pretty anxiety provoking at times, like not really knowing or having a full understanding or like where your place is. Some guys who went to the combine didn't end up making the final 25-man roster, and it's kind of like that play death of a salesman. It comes down to as much who you know as your ability and your playing level and your skill, because you could be one of the best potential picks or players for any team, but if people don't already know who you are, there isn't like a coach advocating for you, like that can kind of be something that gets in your way. And the best thing you can do is play as much as you can in front of as many coaches as you can, and like travel outside your comfort zone. Like it's a beautiful thing that we've got box here in America now. We've got this pro league, but most of these coaches are from Canada. I've been finding out, with the exception of mine, Martin Bose, most of these coaches are from Canada. So if they've seen you play already, and their job, as much as it's your job, is to win or put together a winning team. I already experienced that in college. The coach has a job to do too. Like he might like you, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to get put before the greater good just to do a nice thing for you. So, a lot of guys are probably the 26th, 27th, 28th guy, and that's still a really good thing. But it's really, really hard and political sometimes for these coaches. Like I'm not saying I got lucky. I had to really, really work my tail off, but I've been like playing at whatever level like I can travel to or work the entry level into for a long time, paying my dues. So I know there's some guys right now who are kind of in the dark or question mark or a little salty, and rightfully so. But I definitely would recommend using that as motivation instead of kind of being like, all right, screw this, off to the next thing. Like use it as motivation and come right back, and like don't let yourself be like kind of held out or taken out. These coaches have hard decisions to make. Like again, very grateful for the opportunity. And some people I know who like aren't playing right now or might not have got the call back. I'm sitting there myself like, really? Wow, no way. But it's kind of like, and I'm not comparing it at all, but like I remember when they talk about the USA team and you look at the guys who don't make that, it's invite only. So there's not a single guy on the USA team who got cut who isn't good, but it's about putting together the best combination of guys. So like for me, that my experience was I was with Hampton initially. I was really excited. I got signed by them in free agency. I didn't get drafted because again I lived out in California, so no one really wanted to take that cost risk. And that's just like the start of the list. Like like, might not know who I am. I got lucky that Coach Milligan had taken a look at some of my tape, and he wanted to like take a shot, give me a chance. New England was also interested, but he wanted to still like take a look first. And I thought I did rather well at that training camp. He didn't really give me much negative feedback. Pretty much the general just keep playing, keep learning this game, keep getting better at it, keep doing what you're doing well. But I didn't fit necessarily into what he was trying to build. A guy being from Kanawagi, playing and coaching and being like at a Hall of Fame level, but also having coached a myriad of players that he knows about and already is interested in putting together the team that fits what he wants to do. And I didn't fit into that. I was just very fortunate that I knew some of the staff who was working with New England and they wanted to take a look and give me a chance as well. And then also fortunate that a lot of the guys at that camp I had played with, so I kind of fit into that. And it was a better fit for myself and the team, obviously, because I ended up making the 25-man roster. But yeah, it sucks sometimes when that happens. You just got to keep in mind there's politics as much as like actual skill that goes into it, and you just got to stay with it, keep paying your dues.
Yeah, I think you said a huge thing with you said it's who you know, but it's not even so much that it's who's watched you play lacrosse. Like you said, you got to get out because these training camps are so condensed. It's kind of hard to see some of the style because you guys are learning new rules and there's a lot of things that were involved in these training camps that, if a coach has seen you play or has film of you to play, he knows more what you're capable of and is maybe a little more willing to accept like, okay, he's trying to learn the new style here. That kind of stuff happens. But that being said, you must have had an amazing training camp to make the roster congratulations. And now you're basically going to be playing professional all year round thanks to these two new pro leagues. I mean, huge shout out to the PBLA and huge shout out to the NLA with what they're doing there, having you guys play outdoors. I see you've got your groove hat on. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
awesome. I hope they both succeed, and that's got to be so cool for you. What's it like to now be a pretty much full year round pro lacrosse player, and then you'll just be probably running your camps and your clinics, so you're you're in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what changes, because to get to this point or to have had this opportunity, it was a lot of just year round doing what I thought was necessary to train and to get this opportunity. Similar to like when I walked on the Albany, it was a lot of just hitting the wall or doing stuff on my own and hoping I was doing the right thing. So, obviously, uh, at a higher level, training and being around the country and getting to be with some of these awesome coaches and pros, even in Southern California, that definitely helps. Being back here in the Northeast, immediately saw that like, yeah, it's a higher level of box here. That gets, it's faster. The coaching is, it's a bigger pond with bigger fish than anywhere else in the world. So I'm definitely happy to be back out here and uh, going to raise that to like another level, whether it's, the recruiting, the coaching, the trainings or the teachings I'm doing, or whether the things I'm doing for myself. Because now that I'm here, it's like, stay at the level that you were at. You don't want to plateau now. It's like time to climb the ladder again. So I'm, taking way more ice baths now than I have in the last 10 years. I'm not thrilled about it, but it's everything, in the interest of maintaining and, raising up.
Yeah, and I mean, it really these to make one of these rosters and to make that 25-man team, you are putting so much work in on your own time. Like you said, you're out there, you're organizing, and that's what people need to understand. Like you said about you, especially, you're a great example of somebody who just puts their nose to the grindstone, and you determined that you wanted to be a pro lacrosse player, and you did basically whatever it took to make it there. And like you said, now it comes another test. You don't look at it like, oh yeah, I made it, it's over. Like you said, you've got so much work to do. I mean, what are you most like? What are you expecting from this season for the Chowderheads?
So for us as an organization and team, I know that we're like a big question mark for a lot of the other teams in the league. Like they don't, necessarily know what we've been up to, what we've been doing. We haven't had training camp with anyone else. Even when I was down with Hampton, I didn't get to be a part of the playing against Trenton because that was the following week. But Trenton was there. Like most places, we're doing stuff together. You got to look at someone else. Similar to what the NLL camps and teams were doing this year, where they were either at one of two reservations or Six Nations or near Toronto, with the exception being Vancouver. And you kind of see how that's going for them now, whether that's related or not related. And I'm sure, we definitely, whether we're aware of that at all as an organization or not, is something we want to avoid. I know a lot of teams as well are trying to kind of figure out what it's going to be like with the rules that we're playing and the different style of play, and also like, okay, well, I know this coach is doing this, and this is what teams they have. Some of them have seen each other, so for us, it's try to kind of fit in and find out what our style of gameplay is. A lot of teams, it seems like they have that first game on opening weekend, and then we all kind of have like 2 or 3 weeks off. So I've already kind of heard, rumors about teams like kind of having a second camp and things after that first game, more along the lines of just doing more stuff together. Our sport isn't like football, basketball, baseball, where you move everyone into market. These coaches are trying to put together the best guys down the road they can. I know that 3 teams in New York are going to have pretty stacked rosters because everyone lives rather locally and can just kind of go about their regular lives and do this. But teams down south, New England, they do have a lot of guys in New England on our team, but we're going to be more probably like those PLL, NLL, fly in, drive in, practice a day or two before. If we have a doubleheader, try to get some extra reps in there. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of guess and check, in the sense that the map is kind of dark. Like we know what we can do, we know what we're working on. We've got kind of a group that we're putting some chemistry together with, but we have no idea how other teams are going to look or what it's going to be like. So we're eager to watch some film on them when we have that time off. We're eager to play against another opponent, but obviously the goal of ours is to keep the boat afloat and go wherever it is we want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of my biggest surprise watching this was how different that style was. It was extremely fast, which I mean, I kind of expected with the level of
Mm-hmm.
talent that was there, but with the rule changes and the odd man rushes and stuff that it creates, what was your biggest surprise, I guess, going into this camp with a new league?
So for me, the one thing I noticed is, compared to the NLL, where like, me being, I love in lacrosse that teams from New York are actually good because it's rough for us, and literally every other sport is a New York fan. Although go Bills, right? But So like the Buffalo Bandits, that's a team with like a very stacked set of forwards, and coming from like Southern California and to go to Seals games, and them this year, it's a very stacked set of forwards, and I really wonder what those teams would look like playing our rules because what I noticed at my camp, I know a lot of these guys already, and it's very easy to see which guys like might make up for lack of foot speed or like some of the best guys in box like have a knee brace on. I don't know if that's like a trend or whatever, but like they make up for it with their hands. Like man, oh man, if they could walk on their hands, I bet they'd be as athletic as Allen Iverson. Some of these dudes with the dangles, scoring from behind GLE while they're in the air. Like I don't, hopefully I'll get there one day, but I noticed that in this version of the game that doesn't shine as much. It almost kind of reminds me of how they always say, like, the PL, not the PLL, although I would say it is, but like the MLL, they always just say it was a midfielders league. This is definitely a league I feel like someone like Zach Currier would like flourish in. And that's already a guy that like people won't shut up about. I was, saying to my friends today, like, for a long time, it'd be like the best player in the world, like, Paul Rabel or Tom Schreiber or Lyle Thompson. And whether it's an attackman or a midfielder, he was always a guy who just played offense. With the exception of Blaze recently in the PLL, like Tom Schreiber is an amazing offensive player, but he doesn't play defense. He can, but he doesn't. He's basically like that fourth attackman. Like he's just an offensive midfielder. Same with Paul Rabel. They can play defense. I'm sure they did when they're younger, but Zach Currier would be a guy who'd be most useful in this league because some of my friends have been cut from other teams, or some of these guys on my team, you know, them being a forward and being very quick in that area definitely comes in handy. But the nature of this sport already, where the ball goes off the boards and might go flying to the other end, and the fact that we can only like you can't go like front door, back door, and just like go like this. It has to be you go all the way around here to send a guy back here if you have the long door. So it's almost like how you see D guys in the NLL now have to have much better stick skills. They kind of phased out just like that brute brawler kind of guy. The transition guys definitely need to have better stick skills. Like I play better fast. I need to learn how to slow it down. But fortunately for me, I don't have to really do a ton different with my playing style. Like I don't ever really get tired from this. Like it's what I already do. So for me, it's nice. But for a lot of the guys, there is an adjustment, whether it's playing faster or just subbing, in a smart way. The same way you have to in regular box. Like subbing is such a huge part of it, but now it's just totally different. So it's going to be really interesting to see that again. I know guys in this league who were like really, really good, and if we weren't using this set of rules, would still be on a team. And that's just kind of the way it goes or how it lies. But I think a lot of those guys are going to be getting callbacks too because they know that all right, I'll be running some laps or hitting the treadmill while I'm waiting because people are going to get hurt, people are going to get banged up, people are going to underperform, or when these double headers come along and things might not work out chemistry wise. So I just can't wait to see what happens on that first day, like that first whistle on everybody's game, like mine. All the other ones we have to watch and check out. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to run. Thank you so much for the
Yeah, no
time.
problem.
Yeah, like you were just kind of saying there, I want to touch on that real quick. Is I don't think you're going to have straight defensive guys. You have to play transition. Everybody has
Yeah.
to have stick skills in this because you have to be a part of the offense too. But
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully we can do this again and get a little longer to chat, do a long form podcast. But I got a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff to do. And all right, it's been awesome talking to you as usual, and I can't wait to see you. Hopefully, I make it to one of your games.
Yeah. Anytime. Can't wait to talk again.
All right, thanks a lot. See you.